Something within you has already felt it, but hasn't yet understood. While the world celebrated the end of another month, a rare frequency passed through the veil. It wasn't visible, it wasn't obvious, but it was precise. A silent pulsation echoed through the subtle layers of reality, not as an external event, but as an intimate call, almost whispered, as if time itself had held its breath, waiting for someone to notice it. That someone might have been you. There was a silence that wasn't an absence of sound. It was a vibrational presence, a hidden intelligence that touched only those with awakened sensitivity. While others continued their days without noticing, you felt time bend slightly. Perhaps you woke up with a strange fatigue even after sleeping well. Perhaps you noticed certain dreams returning, or ancient memories, forgotten for decades, began to visit your mind as if asking for passage. None of this was a coincidence. None of this was random. The last portal of May was not an astronomical spectacle. It did not reveal itself with lights, eclipses, or solar storms. It was a fold in the vibrational fabric, a restricted access, not due to mystical elitism, but due to frequency. Only those who were already tuning in before knowing why could enter. It was a subtle, almost timid portal, but as precise as a secret code that only activates when the soul touches a certain note. This video is not an explanation. It is not a prediction. It is a mirror. A nod to those who have already been touched but couldn't name what they felt. If something within you trembled while the world went on as usual, if symbols began to pursue your attention illogically, if the silence of the final days of May seemed too heavy to be just calm, this content is no accident. If you felt the call, this video is not random. It is a reminder of the invisible, a message from what operates before language, an echo coming from where your soul was born. Most expect portals to announce themselves with thunder, with spectacular signs, celestial phenomena, abrupt ruptures. But some portals, the deepest ones, don't scream, they whisper, and the last portal of May was one of those. Silent, dense, almost invisible to hurried eyes. It didn't open with noise. It opened for those who were quiet inside, while the world vibrated in its end-of-month routine, in bills, goals, distractions, and cycle closures. This portal pulsed at a parallel frequency. Nothing physical, nothing visible, but real, profoundly real. And because of that, few noticed it. Because it didn't happen outside, it passed through within. It was a vibrational activation that required silence to be noticed. And silence, today, is an almost extinct territory. Noise distracts. Silence selects. This was the key to this portal, an energetic opening that sought not an audience but harmony, an invitation that was not made aloud but in subtle fields. Those who felt it cannot explain it. But they know something happened. It was as if time had lost its common density, as if the days were passing outside of you. You were present, but slightly out of sync, displaced, decoupled, feeling more than you could translate. Perhaps you had insomnia without reason, or a sleep so deep it felt like a journey. Perhaps you felt a weariness that didn't come from the body but from the soul, or an internal pause, as if something was waiting to be recognized. These were not symptoms. They were vibrational alerts, echoes of a portal that wasn't announced with a set date and time, but with cosmic subtleties. Because the frequency of this portal was not intended for the masses, it was personal. It came as a silent code seeking compatible fields. Those excessively connected to the external probably captured nothing. But those who were already in inner listening were touched, sometimes lightly, sometimes uncomfortably, but always with precision. This was not a portal to see. It was a portal to feel. And whoever felt it, even without understanding, has already crossed part of the threshold. Long before the mind understood, the body already knew. Long before logic organized words, the energy field began to respond. This is how the last portal of May manifested for many. not in mental revelations, but in inexplicable physical reactions. Goosebumps without cold, tingling in specific parts of the body, sighs that came from nowhere, a slight warmth rising up the back, or a sudden cold that only touched the feet. Nothing clinical, all vibrational. The body is the first altar, the first antenna. It feels before it decodes. In esoteric language, the auric field, that subtle layer that surrounds and protects our being, captures information from the invisible with a sensitivity that the mind cannot yet reach. And when this field is touched by specific frequencies, the body responds with signs. There is no manual, but there is silent wisdom. And that's what activated in many at the end of May, an energetic communication without words, but with real effects. Perhaps you notice sudden mood swings without external reason, or an unexpected desire to withdraw from crowded environments, from people who talk excessively. Perhaps you sought silence without knowing why, or you felt like sleeping more, or less. All of this was the body asking for recalibration, because the portal not only touched your soul, it also realigned your energy centers. Some think that spiritual awakening happens only in the mind or emotions, but awakening also happens in the flesh, in the bones, in the lungs, in the heartbeat. The body is an oracle, when listened to with reverence. It groans before it screams. It trembles before it changes. And sometimes, it falls into deep silence before the soul blossoms. When the portal touched the physical plane, it didn't do so with explosions. It did so with sensations. It was the vibrational field reorganizing the internal codes. And your body, even without understanding, was already moving. Because you don't need to explain what you're feeling. You just need to respect what is vibrating. Not every past is dead. Some fragments merely await the right moment to whisper. And when the last portal of May opened in silence, it didn't bring novelties, it brought memories. But not common memories. They were vibrational memories. Subtle records that don't reside in the brain, but in the field. Impressions that don't come as an image, but as a sensation. Many felt this whisper without being able to name it. An old song that resurfaces for no reason. A smell that brings back a memory of a place you might not even have visited in this life. The name of a mythological character that has pursued you since childhood. A symbol that appears in dreams. The reunion with a childhood passion. Not necessarily a person, but a theme, a fascination, an old obsession. Stars, maps, parallel worlds, art-winged beings, lights. None of this is random. In esoteric language, each being holds a personal energetic archive, a set of codes that come from other experiences, other dimensions, perhaps other lives, or from the beginning of this life, before the world's interference. These codes remain dormant until a vibrational event touches them, and the May portal was exactly that, a vibrational alarm clock. It didn't bring something new. It reactivated what was already within you, waiting for the right moment. That's why what many felt was not a discovery but a recognition, a feeling of, I already knew this. This belongs to me, even if I don't know why. This is the whisper of vibrational memory. It doesn't come to teach. It comes to remind. And there's a reason for it now. When the soul begins to realign with its original core, ancient codes return as guides. The portal, by touching your frequency, also opened internal drawers. And from there, parts of you that were silent began to emerge. Not from forgetfulness, but from strategy. Because there are things that only awaken when your vibration is able to sustain them. If you have felt longing for what you haven't lived, or if you are rediscovering parts of yourself you thought extinct, know this: it's the past that didn't pass. It's your original self trying to remind you who you were, before the world taught you who you should be. When the universe wants to talk to you, it doesn't send paragraphs, it repeats symbols. It makes the same number chase you on clocks, license plates, receipts. It puts the same word in 3 different conversations coming from people who don't even know each other. It makes an animal cross your path more than once, as if to say, pay attention. This is for you. After the silent activation of the May portal, many began to be followed by these recurring patterns. Numbers like 111, 333, 711. Animals that reappear: crows, butterflies, cats, dragonflies. Words that make your skin tingle when spoken: code, origin, alignment, awakening, key. Sometimes it's not even the word itself, but the way it arrives, as if time paused for a second just for it to vibrate stronger. These repetitions are not coincidences, they are resonances. In the esoteric field, everything vibrates in a pattern. And when a symbol repeats, it doesn't want to be rationally understood. It wants to be followed. It wants to be felt. The symbol is not an explanation. It is a portal. It is a bridge between your awakened consciousness and your energetic memory. That's why sometimes it provokes you before it clarifies you. It confuses you, until you accept it as a guide. You can even look for the meaning of a number or an animal in books or websites, but the true meaning lies in how it reverberates within you. Why did it catch your attention? What were you feeling when it appeared? What did your body do? Did it get goosebumps, freeze, sigh? The universe communicates more through impact than through logic. A symbol that pursues is like an echo of the soul. It's the universe saying, "You are on the right path. Keep going." It's not about superstition. It's about synchronicity. The May portal activated these connections. It tuned your field so that certain frequencies can now find you more easily. And the more you recognize, the more they appear. Because the language of the invisible is made of disguised answers. If something has been repeating around you, write it down. Observe. Don't try to understand everything now. Sometimes, just the act of noticing is already the key. The May portal didn't close on the calendar. It didn't belong to just one day. It planted echoes, vibrations that continue to travel, unfold, reflect. And now, in June, we are seeing the reverberations of these energetic seeds. June is not just the next month. It is the mirror, the reflection, the surface where everything that was moved begins to reveal itself. But here's the secret. Not everything reveals itself with clarity. Some things appear blurred, folded, displaced, because the reflection doesn't always show the exact image, it shows what needs to be seen. June acts as a retroactive portal. It pulls into the present decisions, energies, and paths you chose back then, sometimes unconsciously. What seemed resolved may return. What was stuck begins to move. What seemed forgotten resurfaces in a new form. June 7th. For many, it was an inflection point, an esoteric checkpoint. Something changed, small perhaps, invisible, but real. The vibration of that day brought the first energetic return of the May portal, as if the universe said, "Now we will show what was activated," and that's why, now, some are feeling the pieces fall into place. Others are seeing masks fall, and there are still those who are being pulled inward, forced to face unresolved emotions, old patterns, postponed decisions, because the reflection spares no one. It just shows. What you do with what you see is your choice. The universe doesn't reward those who understand quickly. It accompanies those who align with courage. And this month is working like this, as a vibrational mirror that responds to your frequency. If you've been seeing signs, feeling reactions, having conversations that seem to echo something greater, you are within the field of reverberation, and that's a sign that the portal touched something deep. Before we continue, if this video is making sense to you, if something inside you is recognizing these words as truth, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and share in the comments what signs or symbols have been accompanying you lately. Sometimes just by writing, we activate the memory even more. After a subtle portal touches your frequency, nothing around you remains exactly the same, including people. And perhaps one of the first things you noticed without fully understanding was a change in relationships. Someone suddenly moved away. Someone reappeared strongly. Someone started provoking you for no reason. Others simply vanished from your field, as if they had been swept away by the vibrational tide. None of this was personal. It was vibrational. Human connections are not fixed. They are fields in motion. And when your field undergoes a deep realignment, like the one activated at the end of May, the bonds around you begin to respond. Some tighten, others break. Some fall silent, even with love. Because the soul understands what the mind cannot justify. Certain harmonies are only maintained as long as they vibrate in unison. When the rhythm changes, the dance changes too. That's why you may have felt awkwardness in common conversations, irritation with people who were once easy, or even a sudden enchantment with strangers you never connected with before. The portal readjusted your inner field, and now everything that doesn't align begins to grate, distance itself, lose its color, and everything that vibrates in resonance approaches even if unexpectedly. This phase is not about losing people. It's about clearing interference. It's not about rejection or punishment. It's about frequency. Some presences have already fulfilled their role, and insisting on them is like trying to tune into a station that's already off the air. Others are just moving within your orbit. Perhaps they won't leave. They'll just reposition themselves. There are also those who only now, with your field purer, can truly find you. Accept the dance. What is yours remains. What leaves makes space. There is no guilt in following the vibrational call. There is wisdom in recognizing that the field decides before the will. And what is adjusting now is not your social circle. It is your energetic architecture. You are not losing anyone. You are simply fine-tuning your connection with those who can truly hear you, without distortions. There's a common belief in the esoteric world that portals are external events happening apart from us, as if the cosmos decided to open a rift, and we, humble wanderers, were just lucky enough to pass through. But there is a deeper, more powerful, more audacious truth. You didn't cross the May portal. You generated it. Yes. It was your vibration that finalized the code. It was your frequency that completed the vibrational equation that kept this portal in a latent state. The portal didn't open for you. It opened because of you. Some portals open because the earth needs them. Others open because a soul has awakened to the point of altering the field around it, and this last one was like that. A silent summons fueled by hundreds, perhaps thousands of awakened consciousnesses that, even without knowing each other, were emitting similar signals of readiness, of purity, of longing for what hadn't been lived. And these signals accumulated until, crack, a fold opened. This is the part that few understand. How much the universe responds to your personal vibration, how much your presence, your silent prayer, your daily healing, your refusal to repeat patterns. All of this alters the collective field, and it alters it so profoundly that space-time has to reorganize itself to keep up. You don't need to be a guru, a wizard, or a priestess to open portals. You just need to be someone whose frequency has become true, authentic, aligned with essence before fear, before the mask, before obligation. This portal was generated by the sum of courageous presences who chose to remember, instead of just learning. Because there's a point in the journey where the soul no longer seeks information, it seeks remembrance. And your remembrance was the final button. You are the switch, the ignition point, the missing password. So, if you still think you felt something strange, know this. The strange thing was the field responding to your original vibration, and now that the portal has opened because of you, everything around you begins to behave as if it recognizes you again. Many expect that after a portal, a grand revelation will come, a clear sign, a significant event, a visible change. But the deepest portals don't explode, they reverberate. They don't scream, they fine-tune. And what comes now is not spectacle, it's precision. It won't be like light invading the room, but like small cracks through which a new sun begins to pass. You may not notice it right away, but little by little everything around you will begin to respond differently. Forgotten projects begin to resurface, as if they were just waiting for the right moment to breathe. Unexpected invitations arise, People you haven't spoken to in years contact you, as if something pulled them to you. Emotions that seemed healed return, but not to bring you down, to be closed with true love. Intuition gains substance. Premonition becomes almost a conversation. You might be in the middle of something common and suddenly feel like you already know what's going to happen. Not because someone told you, but because your field is already reading the field around it. The invisible begins to show itself not as an answer, but as an echo. A sound you emitted weeks, months, lives ago, and that is now returning in a new form. The May portal wasn't an event with a time limit. It was an activation point, a broken seal. And now every step you take in alignment with who you truly are triggers a new wave. Time, which once seemed a straight line, begins to curve. Previously improbable realities draw closer. People who vibrate in the same field find you easily. What was hard begins to yield, and what was light gains strength. But pay attention. This is not a time to search with anxiety. It is a time to listen with presence. The answers are coming, but not aloud. They come in details, in small encounters, in loose phrases, in gestures that seem simple but carry memory. You have already been marked. The portal has already responded to your frequency. Now it's your world that will begin to adjust, as if it's remembering who you are. Throughout your spiritual journey, perhaps you've looked for signs. Repeated numbers, vivid dreams, improbable encounters, hidden messages in songs or books. Perhaps you've asked the sky, the universe, your intuition, asking for some confirmation. And now at the end of this vibrational cycle, perhaps you are ready to hear a deeper truth. You are not seeing the signs. You are the sign itself. Everything that moved in recent days was not just a cosmic response. It was a recognition of your field. The frequency changed because you changed. The portal opened because your soul emitted a specific sound. The world is beginning to respond to you because, somewhere invisible, you finally responded to yourself. This moment is not a coincidence. It is a convergence. What you experienced was not a random blessing. It was a vibrational consequence. You were not chosen by luck. You were called because your presence is a password. And now, more than ever, it's time to observe with reverence. Don't rush. Don't demand immediate explanations. This is a time for listening, for silent notes, for deep pauses. What comes will not be delivered in a single package. It will be revealed layer by layer, symbol by symbol, echo by echo. Write down your dreams. Pay attention to repetitions. Honor what has emerged. Share in the comments what has been presenting itself. Symbols, phrases, emotions, encounters. All of this is part of the subtle map the portal left for you to decipher with your soul, not with haste. And if you want to continue this journey of esoteric awakening, subscribe to the channel, leave your like. There are more portals to come, and you already know how to listen when they call. You are the sign. You are the password. You are the vibrational answer the universe was waiting for.